Hey, hello and welcome to episode 80 of Buckshot. 80, lads. By Jesus Christ, of the actual old Buckshot. I think it's about 102nd, 103rd. Toad. I'm living in and around the greater Dublin area too long. Toad. I think it's about 102nd, 103rd actual fucking Yoki we've pumped out. But you are all very welcome to number 80 of Buckshot for the 19th of October 2018. Well, by Jesus, that's the end of the week. That is the end of the week, lads. Or, technically, if you're listening to this in the middle of the week, it's whenever. It's whenever. And you're all very welcome. Thank you very much, straight out the gate, to the people on the Patreon. More gear on the way. We haven't enough gear, lads. Well, I'm gone stone fucking mad. Ordered a set of headphones and everything for during the week, just so I can... A decent set, too, so I can actually fucking get this thing dialed in 110%, but I think we're getting better. We're getting better. As far as, anyway, volume-wise, anyway, Gordon set me on the right path, so fair fucking platey like that. For the Patreon people, by the way, there is some exclusivity gone up there now at the minute. Anybody who wants to listen back to the Tom and Jerry show, exclusively to Patreon patrons, it's gone up on the Patreon page, the first episode. Another one is going up alongside this one, so there'll be two up there. So if you do feel like, I see this thing, you gotta give something to the folk that are giving to the podcast. If you're giving to the podcast, you gotta get a little just a little just to wet your beak, you know what I mean? So that's just for starters, lads. There'll be more to come. I'm thinking of doing an extra ramble pod just for the Patreon people, fielding questions and whatnot, maybe even doing a fucking... I think you can do it. Gordon was telling me about something where you can actually do a live. You can actually do a live chat, where you can split screen and chat to fucking people. Why not? Why not do it that way? So if you haven't donated to the Patreon, do give it a lash. As you can see, the better gear is arriving. It's not just it's not me going mad with a couple of quid that comes in every month, but it is. It makes it a viable business. You know what I mean? If all you were doing was throwing good money after bad, then that's not a viable business. But Patreon people make it a viable business. So do, if you, as Gordon would say, sling a couple of dollars up the internet for the podcast. Give it a think. Have a look. Also helping the podcast too, if you want. If you want to get something direct for yourselves, go straight to the Tea Republic shop, which is, I'll put the link in the description of this. Or if you go to the Facebook page, you'll find it too. You can pretty much get the logo, my face, and just the Buckshot or the Ramble Pod logo, just purely that, on whatever the fuck you really want. Everything from phone cases to t-shirts to... You could probably get a tattoo of it, I'm guessing. If you do get a tattoo, I really want to. If somebody ever gets a tattoo of Ramble Pod or Buckshot on them, I want to be there for it. I swear to God. If you're into tattoos, it's a pretty cool fucking logo. You could tattoo worse things on yourself. I want to be there, and we'll vlog the whole thing. It'll be class. Oh yeah, we're over on Spotify now. If Spotify is your favourite thing other than what you're listening on right now, have a gander, subscribe on that one. Of course, we are on Podbean, Castbox, SoundCloud, iTunes, all the other ones. Gigs coming up this weekend, because I'm speaking to you on Friday. Tomorrow night, I'll be in Cork City Limits Comedy Club, which is on Coburg Street. I will be headlining that show. So I'll be honest, I won't lie to you. I'm not entirely sure who else is on the lineup. It's always a tasty night. It's one of the few the actual built comedy clubs, especially outside of Dublin anyway. It's one of the very few ones. Gigs coming up next week. Then I will be... where the fuck am I? You can look at the website. Do you know where I am? I'm going to be in Galway on Tuesday night with Jason Byrne and... Oh, fuck. Oh, I forget. Either way, I'm pretty sure that one's sold out. I think I talked about it last week. Wednesday night, I'm in Dolan's in Limerick. Come along. Thursday night, I'm going to be in the Limelight in Belfast. And Saturday, here's the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Nudge, nudge, not even nudge, nudge, like it's fucking hash. No, sorry lads, this is late at night I'm doing this. And on the Saturday, I will be in the Yurt from 9:30 if you're in Galway for the comedy festival. I will be. It's apparently a secret thing. I don't know. But I'm telling you anyway. That's the simplicity of it. I will be on the Yurt and in the Yurt from 9:30. Pop on in. Also, there's a Best of Irish on during the day, I think, in the Spiegel tent from 3 o'clock. Pop along to that. Anyway, moving swiftly along. Today's guest Today's guest came about as a default guest. I planned on having her as a guest anyway, further down the line. But as it turned out, one half of the duo that was to be on couldn't fucking get out of work or one thing or another. So at the last minute, she stood in like a legend at the 11th hour. She wasn't overly keen on the idea, but she made a cracking guest. It is Holly Soulter. She is the booker and basically innovator that's in the Laughter Lounge right now. That's where I do all the recording. She's an absolute legend. She's taken the place from strength to strength and is rightly bringing it into the 21st century and kind of breaking down stuff that other clubs haven't done. We talk a bit about it. As well as that, we talk about the fact that she's an absolute lunatic for animals, the same way as myself and herself here are. It was a very enjoyable chat, a cracking one. Please enjoy the fantastic Holly Soulter. Holly Soulter, thank you very much for it. Am I saying your name right?
Holly Soulter, yeah.
Is it Soulter?
That was Soulter, yeah. Girl with soul.
But it was a name because have you many fuck ups of your name?
I have, yeah. I have to tell you. My nickname is Salty. So if you're ever looking for
Salty,
Salty, yeah. That's what all the girls call me, are Salty. Mainly because all my teachers said my name was Soulter, but it's actually Soulter. So there you go.
Yeah, because I would have thought Soulter. It sounds posh though. It's a great name, Holly Soulter. No. Is Holly your actual name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? What do you think it was?
I don't know, because sometimes you hear like things like, I don't know, like Penny. And you're like, well, what? Were you named Penny? No, I'm Penelope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about names or anything. So had it been something different, I would have totally bought it. So you were born Holly?
Holly, yeah. I'm born in February. Everybody asked me if I'm a Christmas baby, but I'm not.
I wasn't going to, honestly. I thought it would be too. So introducing, like I will have introed you before this, but you are the booker here at the Laughter Lounge.
I am indeed. That's me.
By Jesus Christ. You know what's class? Because you had no aspirations about doing this podcast whatsoever.
Absolutely none. No. I'll tell you what happened. So about 2 weeks ago, I said to Tom, hey, come in and do a podcast at the Laughter Lounge. And he said, yeah, I'd love to, man. I'd definitely come in. A week later, Holly, I really need you to come on the podcast. So God knows what he's going to have me doing next week.
But I was even saying it like on driving in. I was like, because we had a cancellation today. But that's not why you're. But I'd notions.
Whatever.
No, I'd notions of actually asking you, but I didn't. You sound so busy anyway. I'd notions of asking you because you never have a booker. Normally, what bookers are in most clubs going around the place they're comedians themselves. And there's quite often, not always, but there's quite often kind of a weirdness, kind of or a hang up, like where it's like, oh, right, see, did you want more stage time or what's? But like this is perfect in the fact that you have no aspirations to be telling jokes.
Well,
or do
Tom,
you?
now I'm very funny.
No, you're very funny.
Very funny.
You are very funny, but I mean, could there possibly be a day?
No, about 10 years ago now, I have to tell you, I did think about it.
Yeah?
I did about 10 years ago. But now that I know all of yous, I definitely would never do it because if I did an open mic, it would just be a room full of all you lads. So no, not happening. But no, I'll keep my comedy just for you guys.
I know, I think there'd be a support there for you.
I think so, right, Tom? I'll let you know.
Fuck it, I mean, like, you may as well. You see some of the other lunatics that are giving it a go out there.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you've perfect stage time.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get right in here. Won't have to do any open mics.
What was the like? Because you've revolutionised it I mean, you can kind of tell that things are starting to change. Like you can see the decals out the front of the place and stuff. Like it would turn your head now. Was that kind of stuff your idea, or are they giving you a free rein?
Yeah, kind of. I have to tell you. So I came in originally just doing a bit of admin and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was fine, but I absolutely love comedy, always have. I was a big fan of the Laugh Lounge for years, so when I seen the job posting come up, I just jumped at it. But I'm very lucky. My title on my emails is comedy connoisseur because I kind of don't do just one thing. So yeah, no, the decals on the door were me and Peter, and they just came out absolutely amazing. I just think you'd notice it. But yeah, I do have free reign. I can kind of do whatever I want, which is great because I don't like to be told what to do. So
do you know what? Why would you? Like, if you're asking somebody to be creative, the worst fucking thing you can do is to tie their hands and go, "No, I think you're like you hired me for a job." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in fairness to Peter, he's a savvy fella. Like, you know, he'd go, he would be very good, I'd imagine, at delegating to the right people.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Peter is a pleasure to work for, mainly because I just have absolutely mad ideas.
Yeah.
And I'll say, hey, P, what do you think of this? And he'll be like, go with it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work out, but at least I can say, we've tried it. Do you know that way? So, yeah, no, things are really looking up, and 2019 was kind of a fresh slate. We had no one booked, no plans made, so we can kind of go into 2019 and do whatever we wanted. So I really think next year is just going to be the year of the lounge.
Well,
so watch that space.
It's only good for comedy, like, you know what I mean? The more people that... Because you kind of need to crowbar people away from the fucking telly and stuff like that. Like, you know, so
Yeah.
the more people, like, I wish this place was on 7 nights a week, like, because it was.
And you know, I think maybe one day it could, like, you know yourself, Tom, in England, like, the comedy scene is absolutely deadly. And people do get up on a Tuesday after work and go see comedy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when I was kind of 18, 19, I was throwing money at the big guys in the Three Arena, who, you know, glad I saw an absolutely amazing acts. But now, having worked in comedy for a year, I would never throw money at the Three Arena because the quality of acts that we have in Dublin, at places like the Laughter Lounge and the Crunch and Cherry Comedy, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I just cannot tell people how good comedy is here, and I just really want people to have more interest in it.
Like, to give you an example, I was last Saturday night, the Late Show, I was in the International. Damo Clark hosted. Myself, Jeremy McBride, Dave McSavage and Eddie McQueen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't
know.
get out of fucking town. Like, you're nobody's, you know, and that's the standard wandering around the city. Like, you know,
And the thing is, though, like,
I know I'm kind of blowing my own trumpet there a small bit, but
Tom, you're always fucking doing that. Let's be honest.
I don't give a shit.
You are. But no, like, the acts that I've seen come in and out of these doors the last year, like, they're Irish and they're so quintessentially Irish and they're talking about stuff that only we get.
Yeah.
And it's just something that you just don't get on the telly. Even if you're watching Irish telly, it's just something you capture on the stage in an Irish comedy club. And I just want people to see it more because it's such a good night out.
Yeah, well, I tell you now, we spoke about it before, myself and Peter, and it was, and the problem was the changeover was happening in TV3, but they had expressed an interest in a thing myself and Gordon Hayden had put together.
Okay.
A pitch about the way they used to have a thing before years ago called Liffey Laughs.
Liffey Laughs.
And it was done, it wasn't done under the consultation of any comedic person.
Yeah.
It was just, we know how to film that. And I did another thing. A few of us got to the final of Ireland's, I don't know, RTU Comedy Awards or something. But it was over in the Sugar Club. What the fuck it was doing there? I don't know.
I know.
We're in the fucking Laughter Lounge. And
I know.
And it was like a Tuesday night. And you're going, why are we going to the Sugar Club when there's a Laughter Lounge?
Yeah.
And they brought a bunch of guys who'd never been to a stand-up comedy show in their life. And they were lovely fellas, but all they'd ever filmed was music videos. And they had like fucking these arching cameras. They had on runners and everything. I'm like, lads, this is not a Whitesnake video.
No.
Get 3 cameras set up. Lock them in position. You can't go fucking wrong.
That and a few points. Be good to go.
Get a few shots of people having a good time. That's it.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong. But it was... So I think a place like this definitely has potential for the telly. Like,
we're
think...
talking about doing stuff. Like, as I said, I can't really tell too much. It's a bit sneaky.
Yeah,
but 2019, we just have some amazing projects coming up. Like, stuff that has never been done. We'll be like the first comedy club to ever do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's really exciting. So kind of January 1st, we can start making the announcements, which would be just the best crack ever to be able to go and do really fun stuff like this, you know?
It's in the comedy environment too. Like, I mean, where can you go wrong? Like, but this place, I mean, it's, if anybody hasn't been to the Laughter Lounge, you really need to do yourself a fucking favour. Like, there's an operation in like, they'd nearly take a piss for you here. Like, I've seen it. Like, it's just the way it's, like, if you're on for a good night out, like, the staff, they move like ghosts through the place. Just putting people drinks into people's hands. Like, you go, even people are going, how did I end up with that drink? I've never seen anything.
It just
like
appears.
It's
we're magic.
It's unbelievable. It's like, that's how you operate.
Yeah.
You don't make people queue at the bar. You get drinks into their hands as fast as possible.
And like every day on the phone, I hear, "Oh my god, I've never been into the Laughter Lounge. I've always wanted to go." But like, it's such a good bloody night out. Like, I brought my mum in recently. I'm working here a year, and she came in about 3 weeks ago. She's like, "I'm not going in here. I don't like comedy." But anyway, she came in. She walked out and she went, "Oh my god, best night out I've had in ages." Like, there's something to say about laughing for a couple of hours.
Well, the thing
you know
is,
what I mean?
The thing is too, you don't even need to treat it like a big night out. Like, you can quite literally nip to the comedy and head home. Like, because you don't need to get dialed up to the nines because you're sitting in the fucking dark,
no,
not talking to any of your friends. You're
no.
just watching a funny person in the live performance.
No.
So
with comedy, you'll never be the ugliest person in the room.
Now you know.
So,
now you
go.
said it. Now you fucking said it. So when did you actually start working here then?
I started in February, so about 8 months now. But I feel like I've been here about 3 years.
Yeah, but things are moving slick, like, because, like, do you know, there's no grey area, like, because this is the thing. Once upon a time, you used to have to. I remember. I think I did some. I think my first ever gig here was only about a year. I think I was doing some open mic.
Yeah.
They were trialing like an open mic thing, like
open spots. Yeah, we still do them. We actually have open spots in about 2 weeks, I think.
Really?
Yeah. So we're trying. So what we do with open spots is we have them kind of once every 3 months. So we'll keep an eye on the other comedy clubs.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm friends with all the comics and stuff. And I do get about 10 Facebook friend requests from comedians every single day. But we just like to see whose names are popping up on comedy posters all over Dublin. And then I'll ask the lads for recommendations and who they think. And then we'll put them into open spots. And if they do well, then it's a look at getting a couple of spots next year. So we've got 3 really good acts coming in about 3 weeks. So yeah, I'm excited to see.
Who's coming in 3 weeks?
Who have I got? Steve Bennis is doing one night. Yeah. Kev O'Sullivan.
Lovely.
Yeah, he's done another night, and then I've got 1 spot left. So yeah.
I think did I mention it? Did you ask me? You did ask me. I'm not dreaming this. Yeah.
No, I did. Yeah. I've emailed a couple of people. I'm just I've got another week to scout.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm just trying to figure out who it is, because we don't do them that often. So when we do, I like to pop people in who I think will do it. Do you know
exactly, and they'll justify your choice. Like, you know
exactly.
what I mean? It's all well and good. Somebody might be funny, because the thing about the lounges, like, you can get plopped there, and all of a sudden there's 350 eyes. Well, that's assuming everybody has just one eye. There's 700 fucking eyes looking at you.
Well, it's Ireland. You never know.
You never know. Some could have 3 fucking eyes sitting in the audience. But you can. I've seen acts who I know are very good climb up ever so slightly, like the tightness of it, the height of the stage, and all of a sudden...
It's funny, like people that you'll see on the telly and doing radio stations and names all over posters, and you think that they would kill it in here, but they don't, and it's kind of tough because the first spot sets the tone for the whole night. Like this, it makes the job extra hard for the middleman, and then he really feels like he has to kill it, and then the headliner is coming on after someone who's gone 100% and ran with it and did amazingly. So the first spots are really... They need to be a good act because it just sets the tone for the night. So yeah, comedy stakes kind of the place to be. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and do you know what it'd be like? I mean, again, like if it was here, if you could open the 5 nights or the 7 nights a week, like, I mean, there would be more opportunity for smaller nights then, the kind of way. But there's definitely the population for it. Jesus Christ, I was standing out in that street there for like 10 minutes. And
I know, I was 10 minutes late, Tom. You don't need to say it again.
That's all right. That's all right. And it must be, Jesus Christ, there must have been fucking 3,000 people just past me meandering, like.
Yeah. Listen, that's one of the main reasons we got the decals done, because you'd walk by the Laughter Lounge if you did before that, and now they're set up there, and all those people that are on the window displays, we did caricatures of comedians that have been in. They're all famous faces that have been on our stage. Now, mainly they were on our stage before they got really big. But it just shows you the acts that we have in now could be the guys that are filling the 3 Arena in a couple of years. So, come in and see them, and then you can say, hey, I saw Tom in the Laughter Lounge 5 years ago.
You want to hear some fucker just shout at him, no problem.
Tip man with notions, that's what we call you.
Listen, I have massive notions myself. Like, doing my own fucking podcast and everything in the Laughter Lounge.
I know, I think I saw a coffee with oat milk there a few minutes ago.
I did actually, the coffee with an oat milk. I know I joke about it and stuff, but I absolutely fucking love oat milk.
I know, it's the best.
I don't even know, what
when did we start milking oats? When did this happen?
Are you stealing my jokes now,
Yeah, I am, sorry.
Do you know what, there's enough of them to go around, it's fine.
Sure,
but you know what, I like, look, I mean, if they start, actually, Peter, I was in here one night, because I drive typically, like, and it has become very accommodating in here. I was in here one night, and Peter was saying, are you not having a drink? Because I just come off stage, and I was like, I don't know, sure, I'm driving. And he says, but do you like, and I said, do you like non-alcoholic? I said, typically it's watery piss. I said, Peter, he said, no, we've got good stuff. And he had Erdinger or something. I was like, finally.
We do. We're only short of getting gluten-free beer in at this rate, to be honest.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you never know. Might get some oat milk in.
Oh, my
God. An espresso.
God. Can you imagine, like, the fucking machine going off while
there's smoking.
Well, just simple little things like the curtain that comes across and stuff like that, killing the noise of the bar from the back, like, because, like, as comedians, we all do gigs everywhere, and there'd be a fella like collecting glasses in the middle of the fucking off the stage, like, and you're going,
I know it's such a big venue. Like, before I started working here, I thought there was about 150 people in the room, but there's not. There's between 300 and 350 there on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and you'd never know. I
came in here one night. I was at a wedding across town. And Peter had messaged me on the Friday. Whoever had dropped out on the Saturday he said, you're hardly around us. I mean, wedding, do you know, and it's a perfect excuse to stay sober. And the wedding was on in Fallon and Burn upstairs, a small little wedding. I went, grand. I said, I'll be dressed a lot fancier than I typically am. And he just was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I landed over in a suit, like, I was like, oh, Jesus, grand. I swear to God, there must have been, like, there was barely standing room.
Yeah.
It was like being at a soccer match or something. It was rammed to
the more people in here, the better. the atmosphere
Oh
is
my
killer.
God. You couldn't. I could have gone up there and just picked my nose for 25 minutes.
And they would have loved it.
And they would have gone okay with it.
Yeah, well, just FYI, don't ever do that.
No. But what's funny is, like, I remember when I told him the truth. I know I'm dressed, I sound like I should be laying tarmac. I said, but, dressed like fucking Downton Abbey or something along those lines. And I was told him, would you believe it, I'm over at the wedding. I was telling them all about the scandal because there was a row after happening outside the door. And I told them all, and the audience were totally loving it. And it was gas as I was coming out, like 2 or 3. So, where's the wedding?
Fancy coming
could
over?
we come over with you? It's like, no.
There's always gay crashers at an
Oh,
Irish
yeah,
wedding.
I know,
Let's be
yeah.
fair, we've all been there.
Totally. But you're also, because the first time we probably got to know each other was through our love of dogs.
We do. We love dogs, don't we, Tom?
We fucking, Jesus. I mean,
Love
we
dogs.
now have a mural, a portrait. There's no portraits of myself or herself, but there's a portrait of the dog on the wall.
There's a reason for that, Tom.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Well, the dog is a lot more fucking vain than we are, probably. But you presented us with a picture of Baroness, the dog.
I did.
Who the listeners are all familiar with, because
Yeah,
she's typically fucking
I
jumps
think
in the
we
middle of this.
mainly listen to Buckshot because we want to hear about the Baroness,
dog,
don't
yeah.
we? Yeah. I know Tom and his lovely wife Natasha were so good. I had a big pause fundraiser in the Laughter Lounge and they shared it for me and popped tickets up on Pet Doc Ireland and everything. So I got the picture drawn of the Baroness and it came out pretty cool.
It was class.
Yeah, I love it.
It's I mean, at no point did the dog go, you got my eyebrows wrong or anything. Like, she
No.
seemed fairly happy with the
Yeah,
thing.
I think so. She texted me to say thanks.
What? Do you know what? That's a thing.
Is it?
That's a thing. This is before we ever got a dog or anything. I remember watching this program and it was like Ireland's craziest pet owners. And it was like a TV3 made show, and it was basically these people leaving this woman knitting jumpers for her dogs and stuff. It seemed normal enough. And then it got like into one guy who was really into his English sheepdogs, and he had him groomed and held onto all the hair, and had to go to this woman in the Aran Islands who made a jumper out of the hair. Stop! No, this
Wearing
fella.
his dog.
Wearing his dog,
bit morbid.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but then there was this couple, right, who fucking loved their cats, like
Cat mad.
loved them in a Jesus steady on lads
Yeah.
kind of a way, like.
Okay.
And they were heading away on holidays, and they were fucking heartbroken. They were going to have to leave the 2 cats into this cattery. But they have a system set up that the cat is given a phone number, right?
Oh my god.
The cat is assigned its own mobile in inverted commas, and the cat will text you a couple of times a day, and not text you like like your cat's doing grand, had a scrub this morning. It will text you in the first person, like, hey,
Like,
mom
hey,
and
Mom?
dad.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Hey, mom and dad. So
How would I say, hey, ma'am, cleaned myself this morning, scratched my arse.
Yeah. Quite literally, it's like at no point is anybody going, but cats don't have proper thumbs. How could they?
They're definitely not texting you.
But,
Whose job is that? Imagine, what would you put on your CV?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Whose job is that?
You know, in my last role, I pretended
I was
to
a
be
cat.
a cat and texted their crazy.
That
shit
sounds like some
mothers.
fetish shit, like,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
seriously, I would definitely not want to do that.
But did they? And this is the thing. They weren't like, that's nice of them now, isn't it? Texting them as if they're the cat. They both like read it over each other's shoulders, going, "Oh, class. I'm glad she's doing well." Like the cat was on the reg, texting them like.
I'm surprised the cat wasn't FaceTiming.
Did you know that? But
Yeah.
that's, I guarantee,
Seriously,
if you were willing to pay for it, people.
I'm sure that's an added service.
Because pause is kind of a sanctuary. It's kind of a sanctuary, isn't it? With a different effect, like, isn't it? Rather than just a dog's trust, like.
It is exactly like the dog's trust, essentially. So, the thing is with pause.
Okay, I got that totally wrong then.
No,
so.
you're fine. No, it is like a sanctuary in the sense where you've never met a better bunch of people.
Yeah.
And they're all about the dogs. Like, my aunt is there since she was 13 years old, and I think she's about 32 now. I think it was her 20th year anniversary or something recently. But, they're paid tuppence. They barely earn anything. They work 7 days a week, essentially, but they mainly get greyhounds who are ex-racers.
Yeah.
You know, it's either they take them in or they're getting a shot between the eyes, unfortunately. But no, they're absolutely brilliant and just a great bunch. So it's kind of family run between my aunt, my uncle, and then a woman called Gina, who's the manager as well. But yeah, if you're looking for a dog, that's the place to go.
I remember we called into it was the Wicklow SPCA.
Oh yeah,
I remember when we were looking at getting a dog before, and they just didn't have any. We looked at a few, and they just didn't have dogs that were right for us. They're either massive dogs, or a few years old, or a dog that had a bit of an issue, or something like that.
Yeah.
So the timing was way off. So that's how we ended up getting Baroness or whatever. But the plan was to get a rescue or whatever. But we went to that one, and we could see that they were short on money down there. You could see by it, and we still had I brought you in a camel a couple of weeks
He
back.
did bring me in a camel. He said to me, "Oh, Holly, I've got a teddy bear for
I
you
say-
for
yeah.
paws." It wasn't. It was like a 3-foot camel, and I had to take it home on the bus, and a couple of terrible jokes that I won't repeat.
Did you actually bring it home on the bus?
I did bring it home on the bus.
Oh
I got
my
on the
God.
bus.
Well, the only other way I had to bring it into the lounge because
Yeah, but you could have told me it was a camel. Like, I
totally
would have built
forgot.
it up then.
Yeah.
You just said a teddy bear. But anyway, got on the bus, and the bus man is like, "I'm going to have to charge you, an extra ticket for that thing."
what?
And then I got a couple of spit or swallow jokes, which, in fairness, absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So, happy hump day. You got a hump on you. I was like, oh, for God's sake. But anyway, thank you for the camel. It's currently on raffle for our...
Is it?
Yeah. So...
Because we had, it isn't just that I wander around with fucking camels or whatever, but it's,
No.
we had some
Backstory.
stock left over from the toy shop when we had a toy shop. But some of the stuff, like I remember we got in these unicorns, and the unicorns, I swear to God, were about 4 foot high.
Amazing.
And I remember we got in 10 of these bastards.
They're all the rage.
They
now
were
at the
gone by
moment.
10 o'clock in the morning. Like,
Were
it
they?
was,
Yeah.
it was just ridiculous. But we'd gone to that the SPCA down in Wicklow, and we'd said, look, if we're ever back, I want to drop in. Natasha said I would drop in something, and it was only the other day I was passing. She goes, "You're going to be passing that way. Bring." So I think it was a kangaroo I brought.
Oh, did you actually bring it in?
Yeah, and I hadn't been there in a year and a half.
Oh my God.
And wandered in. This woman, she was actually going. She was on the phone. It was perfect timing. She was on the phone for that their well had basically had shit the bed and they were going to have to pay, and she was getting this guy in, and I'm standing there with this giant joke, and I had to wait for this awkward conversation to end with this fucking kangaroo on my arm. She comes around and she goes, is everything all right? I went, okay,
we
so
don't take camels in here.
Here's the story. So I told her the story, but like that, you've never seen happiness. People that I think work with animals, they're a different type of human.
Yeah,
I think
they are.
I'm sure people that work with humans too are nice as well.
Yeah, some humans are animals. So let's be fair.
Jesus, yeah. But it's, in fairness, you could see the happiness on this woman's face. Like, not that it was, but at least they might make 100 quid on the raffle or something, like, to actually put towards something. Like,
But you know what it is? It's just the thought. Like, paws I think they're in like 20,000 worth of debt, to be honest.
Jesus.
And they've got an incredible vet out in Nace who just never says no. And that's what I'm talking about. It's those type of people. They just have a different heart when it comes to animals. And it's just thought, like, even if you can throw €2 in a bucket outside your supermarket, that might feed a dog for a day.
Yeah.
But
I'll put a link to the website too in the description of this too for anybody to have an old gander at it.
Great.
So why not? I mean, everybody, if you have an animal and you listen to this, because most of the people that listen to this are typically dog people, or do you know what I mean? Or
they're the best kind of people, Tom.
They
You wouldn't want any other listeners but dog people.
But but that's the thing. Like, if the odd person I talk to, like, and they'll go, I've got a snake. I'm like, okay, but
there's a bit of distrust there, isn't there?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I've met snakes, and it's like, it doesn't seem to be a whole pile of crack out of them. Are they affection? They're like,
I don't think the crack happens unless they get out.
Yeah,
and then it's like,
yeah.
oh my God, you have to find the snake. It's in the walls.
So, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I don't see like snakes or lizards giving much of a bollocks about you.
No,
do you know
like,
that kind of way? Like?
I have a dog currently, so he's a basset hound, absolutely massive.
Have you a basset hound?
I do. Yeah, his name is Buddy. He's a paws rescue. I also have a parrot called Stormy. That I have him about 12 or 13 years now.
Am I wrong? Do parrots live forever?
Forever. Yeah. So I think he's about 26 now.
What?
Yeah, he's about 26. So I adopted him when he was 12, and I think he's about 13 now. So yeah, 25, about the same age as me.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And he'll live probably another, well, mine won't, because my bird loves chicken curry, so it's not normal. But, so he's going to kick the bucket way early, because he's technically eating birds, so I don't know. But yeah, they'll live to about 60, 70. It's unreal.
Well, birds are total fucking dinosaurs anyway. If the mother has hens at home, and they would jack a rat or a mouse or anything, they'll eat it.
No fear. Like, my parrot rules the roost in my house. Like, that basset hound, if my bird whistles at him, the dog runs.
He can whistle, can he?
Oh, he talks and everything, yeah.
Does he?
Oh, he's a great talker. He sounds exactly like me.
Are they talking because they're just mimicking you, or do they know they are communicating? Like,
oh my God, no, they definitely know they're communicating. Like, if I pick up my car keys or whatever to leave the house, he'll go, goodbye.
Really?
Yeah. And if I come in the door, he'll say hello. If he wants me to feed him, he'll say Holly, and I have to run in. Yeah. Oh no, they're the most intelligent animals ever. I've had parrots my whole life.
Have you?
Yeah. I had a macaw, a big, like,
yeah.
pirate bird. Yeah. I had him my dad ended up taking an allergic reaction to him, so I had to get rid of him. But yeah, parrot mad.
Fucking hell. As I see like the hens at home, they're sound, but hens don't give no fucks.
No.
Like, especially kind of, because they get a fair bit of running around, like they're not kept in much at all. Like, but I saw 5 hens pick a fight with a dog.
I don't doubt it.
They picked, and they made like a V-shaped pincer movement, like on him, and like all of them ducked their heads down and just made a bolt for the dog, and even the dog just you could see the indecision in her face, like, I could fuck up one of them at a time, but could I fuck up, like, they could have a knife, the dog just made the dog
karate
just
chopping.
You could see in the split second, like, the dog was just, oh no, oh fuck.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't want 5 chickens coming at me.
The dog just swallowed her pride and just went, nah, I'm in the house.
Yeah.
I'm heading back in because that's not worth it.
No.
And these were just hens.
I know.
But I've seen them fuck up.
But think of the saying, like, rule the roost. Where do you think that comes from?
But they're straight from dinosaurs. Like, they just don't give a shit.
No. Not going anywhere either.
And what type of parrot is your parrot then?
He's an African grey. So he's like grey with a red tail.
And is he rescued as well?
No, kind of. I took him from a woman in Crumlin who was getting older, and she was actually afraid that she was kind of just going to kick the bucket and nobody would look after the bird.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I kind of took the bird before she did kick the bucket. But he's great. So I'll bring him in one day. You bring the dog in, I'll bring the parrot in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there a serious price? Am I just imagining it?
No, I think you can get an African grey for about 900, I'd say.
Still though, that's just fair old whack of money for it.
Well, no, the macaw that we had was, I think he was about 3,800.
What?
That macaw, yeah. He was red, absolutely beautiful. Like, his name was Rua. But yeah, he was, I think, 3,800 we paid for him.
Fucking hell.
Saved for him for about 4 years, and then had him 2 months and had to get rid of him. So he's currently living with an older woman out in
Kildare. Right, he didn't kick the boat. He just had, why? He just was too much trouble. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so I had to get rid of him. So he's currently out with an older woman out in Kildare, and he's happy out. I'm not, because I'm $4,000 out and I've no bird, but she's living life.
Yeah, but then you did score on an African grey too, like, so you're up a little bit, like.
Up a little bit now, but cost me a fortune in curry, but whatever, that's grand.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe you feed it curry. How did you even discover that?
Well, see, you can't eat anything in that house with that bird, because he just comes over, he drinks tea, he loves nice biscuits, and he's gotten very cocky lately, because the only thing he'll eat as of late is gluten-free rosemary and cheese crackers. Now it was far from a gluten-free rosemary and cheese cracker that I was reared, but someone bought them for me in a gift basket, so they were in the house. And fucking love something, I have to buy them all the time.
Ah, for fuck's sake.
So he's like you in parrot form. Bird with notions.
I have gotten fierce notions. I've started eating very, very healthy the last couple of weeks. I tried avoiding sugar.
Oh.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Try that.
No.
It's not. Like, to be fair, it was Natasha said it first. She goes, I just want to see, can I? Because she was finding herself being bollocksed in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm eating what she thought was healthy. She said, but there has to be some reset. So we sat down with a nutritionist and look how much sugar. Have a look at everything.
Yeah.
There's sugar and shit. We were going. There's no, like, if you put.
I'd say it gets a bit addictive looking it up. Like, I'd say you look at sugar on the back of everything now.
Well, you actually do, because you're kind of going, just out of interest. Will I have and there's alternatives. I mean, you can just fucking go eat an apple.
Yeah.
But try and sidestep in sugar.
Right.
Through everything. They have it in everything. You're going, there's no reason for it to be in that. But there is. It's the reason why people fucking buy it, because everybody's hooked on sugar.
Yeah,
everybody. So I've been not for the wanky purposes, I'm not preaching about it anywhere, but just to see, can I avoid sugar? But I tell you one thing, you would be ironically, because you think sugar would give you more energy, you would actually have more energy from not eating sugar.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I used to have 2 sugars in my tea, and now I'm down to none. So I'm doing very well. But I work in town, so it's bloody so hard to eat healthy when you're working in town. Like, I've got 3 free burritos in the last week because I know all the staff in Boojum. So, like, am I going to pay €10 for a chopped salad, or am I going to get a free burrito from my pals in Boojum? No.
The government need to get on this and start giving out just, I don't know, vouchers for Chopped or something like that. But even Chopped then, like, you're going, there we go on, sure, throw the salad dressing on it. She may as well go in next door and have a fucking Big Mac.
And the people are so miserable in Chopped. Like, when you go in, you can tell they hate it. People sitting there are miserable because they're in Weight Watchers or they're not happy.
I'm not being
While
convinced by
Peaches and Boojum, the crack.
Yeah, I'm not being convinced by any of them. That's the reality of it. The last Chopped I went into, it was like going into behind the Iron Curtain.
It's like Shawshank Redemption in there, isn't it?
It was like going in behind the Iron Curtain pre, like, 82. It was just...
morbid.
help you. It's like, Jesus Christ, can I help you?
Do you need help?
Do you
want to talk?
Is everything all right? Fucking hell. And any chance of getting salads here in the laughter lounge?
Absolutely
no,
not. No. Pizza, nachos, Pringles.
All the
beer,
all
vodka,
beer
pink
related.
gin.
Yeah, beer related. That's the thing. Nobody's selling any fucking fancy stuff after 9 o'clock a day.
There'll be no fulfill bars behind our bar anytime soon. It's not happening.
I thought, I had a rep for not a rep, but I'm an ambassador for Phil Bars a couple of weeks ago. Back on it was a couple of months ago now at this stage. And I was genuinely, going, is it easy to, because I've had a few nutritionist people on, like, and they were going, oh, it's totally easy to eat. And it was like, if you can cook it all yourself and bring it with you, like, you basically have to spend all day Sunday meal prepping.
It is, like. Yeah, you can't do it on the day. Because you'll just buy what's handy.
Yeah, of course you will. Like, and you can't, as you said, you can't sidestep that shit around town, like, because of the healthy stuff and all the rest of it. Like,
my two addictions are boojum and Paddy Power, and I work directly above a Paddy Power, and there's a boojum on the other corner. So that lounge is not good for me at all. I'm broke and getting fat.
And what do you typically bet on in Paddy Power?
Oh, I'm terrible now. I'm mad for the football.
Okay.
Yeah, and the horses.
Right.
So. Tip for you: never ask Pat Sir for tips because he's
Pat
terrible.
Murray. The 3 fucking times he gave me tips, the fuckers are still running.
He votes on the virtual. He bets on the virtual horses.
Stop.
It's like he won once, I think, but no, generally crap. But no, if you're looking for accumulator advice, I'm your gal.
Right.
Yeah.
We used to make a ton of money in college because there was a bookies around the corner from the college in Limerick, and we used to follow rugby league at the time.
Right.
A handful of us. And it was plain as a nose in your face who was going to win. Like, it was a very, like, strange, and they were taking bets on it. And clearly, they weren't liaising with anybody. They had no clue. They were giving you odds, and you're like, are you fucking joking me? So it's like, because teams, it was a very strange sport, in that teams would have a total swing the following year. So, say, like, for all the world, like, the likes of Liverpool's and Man City's and stuff, they're always kind of well known and doing relatively well. In rugby league, the way it was back in the 90s, anyway, you'd have Wigan being amazing and winning it one year, and then being bottom the next year. So they would still run on last year's fucking form. You're going, we made a fucking fortune.
I was the same with pool. Like, I'm unreal at pool and snooker. Like, I'll annihilate you. But everybody thought that I was absolutely crap. So I used to walk into the bar and I'd bat a few eyelids. I'd be like, oh, I'll pay you, and we'll put a tenner down, and then I'd annihilate them, and I'd just do that all day.
So just sharking?
Absolutely sharking, yeah. Put myself through college.
Fucking hell. Because I remember we were in one, it was in Limerick, and we knew we were in a rough snooker hall, because it was just a handy way of passing the day playing snooker or whatever. And when you get a kind of good at it, it then becomes enjoyable. Like.
It does, yeah.
But...
And addictive. Like,
totally
you start
addictive,
doing really well and you're getting kind of 2 or 3 balls in at the same time.
Yeah,
amazing.
But I knew we were in a rough one day when 2 fellas on the table beside us started comparing foods in different prisons. It was like,
either that or breaking the queue in half and off you go.
I could accept that, but when they were just chatting about, tell me now, what's Wheatfield like, and what's the one in Limerick?
What's the potatoes like in Clover
Hill?
Hill?
Quite literally. Yeah. What did they do? Daff and Wah and so I was like, oh my god, all right. But there's yeah, because I only spotted there's a snooker and pool shop around the corner. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah. It actually caught my eye. It must be only after opening up or so. Although I'm typically walking down here late at night anyway to come to gigs. But like, they actually had custom legs for your pool table and everything. I'm like, the boom is definitely back in Ireland.
It's definitely back. You can feel it in here. People are back ordering their double shots.
Are they? Double shots are back, are they?
Nobody's ordering single drinks. Everybody's buying rounds. Yeah. The boom is definitely back. We're definitely fucked again.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
It'll probably only last 6 months this time. Yeah.
Germans, where are you?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, you'd think we'd learn from the last time. Like,
no, we never do. We're Irish, man. We'll never learn.
No.
Pack of nightmares.
Sure, even the other night, like last Thursday night, was it packed in here?
Absolutely packed.
Yeah, packed
Thursday nights are becoming the Saturday.
Packed up the road, and that's the first sign of the boom. Thursday nights, can't wait for Friday. Yeah.
In 6 months, we'll bloody be open on Wednesdays.
Yeah, hey, bring it on. Bring it on. But like that, and there was supposed to be a fucking storm coming. This
place was jammers the weekend of the storm. They were like, fuck that, I'm not staying in listening to winds. I'm going to have the laugh in here.
That's the fucking job. And what's the policy then for, I suppose, there isn't really an application thing anymore like the other clubs would, or like I suppose it was in the past or whatever, because I remember that's how I got the open mic. It was just I'd sent in an application or whatever to actually have it. And quite literally was Peter message going, do you want to do it tomorrow night? It was like, yes, please. So I suppose now it's more, you go and you find it out yourself more than anything, don't you?
There's kind of a mix of both. Now, I also do all the social media for the Laughter Lounge and stuff, so that's kind of my forte. But I have got a few, like, Facebook message videos where I cannot tell you how funny they are. Like, they don't mean to be funny. It's just, these are just audition tapes, and, you know, they'll nod their head and they'll say, when I'm nodding my head, that's the audience laughing. You know, and then they'll nod their head, but the joke is awful.
Right.
But,
Jesus. That's kind of upsetting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But if I'm feeling bad about myself, I'll watch it. You know, it totally changes your life. But no, there's kind of not really a format to it anymore. As I said, it's just seeing whose names are popping up. And then obviously we have to do our research. So, you know, I went to the Fringe Festival this year for a couple of nights and went and scouted out acts. And, you know, as I said, we've got like great acts here in Ireland, but it's also great to see the UK acts as well, because they do bring something different to the table. So next year we've got some deadly acts coming in. So, really exciting times.
Are you coming over to Galway next week? Will you get a chance?
I'm thinking about it now. I didn't get to see Dylan Moran when I was in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Like, I work in comedy and I couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah. And I think he's sold out again.
Yeah, I think I can get a ticket in Ireland now to be a different ball game. But I think I might head over, and there's a couple of brilliant acts on over there.
There is. I'm doing I've an intense week.
I think you're doing the big one on the Sunday, are you?
Yeah, there's a big gang of us doing that one, and then I'm doing. It's supposed to be a secret, but fuck that.
Okay, cool.
Podcast listeners know I'll be in the Yurt at 9:30 on the Saturday, so that's just me doing. I think it's a good idea. They're having a comedy crawl.
Oh,
so
deadly!
They'll come to each venue and they'll meet the comedian standing on the stage waiting for him.
That's great.
And you'll do. I'm guessing I'll be doing a 25:30.
Yeah.
And then they'll move on again.
That's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
And you know, that's something that we could definitely do here in Dublin.
Great. Oh, I was just thinking it. You could totally do it.
And especially because Dublin's so small, like, you just walk from here to the Crunch.
But you know it. Like, you could quite literally, which I've done it.
Everyone does it here.
I've done three clubs.
Yeah.
Within a 5-minute walking distance between
And there's
each
actually no better feeling than the walk from one gig to another. Is there? I just something nice about it, like finishing here and then heading over to the Inter.
It's quality.
It's just like this is what I do it for. You know?
Especially in here, like, you know, because I mean, in two ways. Like, when you get used to the format or whatever in here, you'll rip it every night. Like, it's up to you to fuck it up in here, I think. Yeah. Because the lounge, the MCs are so good, the audiences are so good, the vibe is so good. When you walk in the door, people are buzzing. Yeah. There's no convincing them they're out for a good time. Like,
no, and I do tell people that, like, obviously because I know all the comedians and stuff, and they're like, oh, I really want to get in and do the lounge and stuff, and it's like, there are two types of enjoyable. Like, you've got the Crunch, which is one of my favourite clubs in Dublin. It's just got a great atmosphere, and if you can kill it in there, then you'll actually be surprised how well you'll do in here. But there has to be like a level where you build up, because we are a room of 350 people. Yeah. So you need to be absolutely killing it everywhere else before you get in. Yeah. And that's just kind of the way it is.
And that's the thing. Like, I would never, like, at the minute I'm still middling, like, but even though I'm headlining pretty much everywhere else, but I know the time. You got to put in your time, like. You just have to put in your fucking time. And you see, I suppose, and I don't think it's a millennial thing, but I do think there's an instant gratification thing that people kind of feel nowadays. They're like, but I did like 7 gigs in a row there, and they were all pretty good. And you're like, no,
it's totally the same. Even in our little green room, if, you know, the odd time, if somebody wants a slot, but we don't have a headliner, we'll put them in the middle because they want the gig. But, you know, they'll go in the green room and they'll be like, oh yeah, no, I normally headline, but, you know, wasn't available, so I'm just doing the middle tonight. You know, but the middle is the nicest spot in here. It's the nicest
spot. But you need to even to be dreaming of that. Like, you need to prove it to everybody, because if you can headline, then you need to be able to grip it and rip it in the middle half, like, because you need to make it so hard for the headliner even to follow you.
And it's kind of like a competition, because you're like, I'm going to go out here and kill this now. You know?
It's the only reason why I do comedy. Is to, even though I get on with everybody, it's a fair game. Like, I just bring a sporting attitude to it. I'm going to make it so fucking hard. If I'm not closing this bitch, and even if you have done really well, I have to smash everybody out. And it's just, I think that's fair game.
But I think that's the way it needs to be. Like, even
keep standards up.
Yeah, to keep standards up. And even as a booker, like, I have to tell you, if I see somebody with hustle that, you know, is emailing me all the time. Now, do not send me emails all the time. Do not. But, you know, if you see somebody
do not email the living shit out of you.
No, I've literally had 10 friend requests, I think, the last 2 days from comedians. Beautiful. It's awful. But, no, like, if I see somebody with hustle who's really good, who really wants to get in here, it does keep your name in my mind. Or if I see somebody that's gigging in a different club every night of the week, it shows me that they're in it for the love of it, not in it for a bit of bread and butter on a Saturday night. And it does make a difference. Like, put the hard work in, hustle, and build your way up. It's
And when you
great.
do get in the door here, absolutely launch the fucking thing to space, like, because I mean, I can never fathom that. Like, you suck it up, you take 2 toughen to fuck up tablets and you make a show of it, like, because if you go into yourself, don't expect to be back.
No.
You know, because this isn't a public service.
No, it's not. And the thing is like, we have about kind of 10 acts that we call like our Laughter Lounge fam, you know, and like we do look after them. We love to have you in, and you know, everybody's constantly writing. So I'm in here every Thursday night, and even though I've seen everyone 100 times, I'll still watch them because I know they're going to have a new bit in there. Or they're going to change up this bit. And even in the 8 months that I've been here, acts that we had on maybe on first when I started are now on middle. And just to see how much better they've gotten in the 8 months is absolutely amazing.
It does happen, like, I mean, but you have to make that progression, like, you know, because you'd see it in some lads, like in other clubs and stuff, you're going, come on. I know you have more in you, or is it just laziness, or what is it, like, you know what I mean?
And there's like a couple of comedians who are fantastic, who, like, we just have constant requests for them, but for them it's just a bit of bread and butter. And then you've got the lads like you and Damo and Danny who are just stage addicts.
This is all we do, like.
And it's an addiction, like.
Yeah, it is, I'd get cranky if like a 5-6 day period had passed and I wasn't performing somewhere.
Yeah.
The crankiness would set in, like,
I don't doubt it.
And I don't know what it is, like, and it was my sister who was a doctor of that kind of shit, brains and stuff. You can tell where all the intelligence went in the family.
Went one way into one egg, Tom.
Well, no, there's 3 other siblings who are all very smart people, like, but she was saying no, she says you would have your adrenaline gland would be blown wide open. She says if you're not, and it's just probably people that, I'm not comparing us to fucking motorbike racers, but she says they would have the similar.
Yeah, well, even Dermot Whelan, you know, Dermot and Dave, he says that, like, he went skydiving, and he said absolutely nothing compared to getting on stage. He said the adrenaline of being a comedian and walking up on stage thinking, is this going to go well? That's what gets you, because it's in your hands. I think the whole difference with comedy is the endorphins are in your hands. Like, skydiving, you can't help. You're falling out of the plane. No. If you die, you die. Yeah. But with comedy, you get what you give. Do you know that way?
Oh, I totally get it, because you're going, and no matter how many, like 10,000 times you would have done it, you'd still be standing back here at the green room, or the VIP, looking through, going, this is gone well every time. Yeah. There's no reason why this wouldn't go well. But there's a little bit of apprehension, and I think if that ever goes in me, I'll jack it in.
You'll jack it in. Yeah, but even some comedians that we have in, like headliners, absolutely brilliant. They'll ask for a room for 5-10 minutes on their own before they go on because of the nerves. Like, it gets to them. But I don't doubt it, in fairness, because when they start clapping and you hear people roaring and the music is jamming, the pressure is on.
And you see, it is on too, because say if you're closing or whatever, they've already met 3 other people, including the MC, and had a good time with them. And you're like, well, where do I jump on this moving train?
Yeah, that's why I say the middle act is
that's the sweetest spot.
Because you're second in, they kind of know how it works now. They're ready for you. They know you're going to be a little bit better than the first on.
The drink hasn't kicked in too bad at that stage.
They're behaved. And then the headliner has to go in and kill it. It's 10 times the work.
It is.
And the price difference isn't that big, so the middle is nice.
The middle is always the sweet spot. Like, there's just it is anywhere, but this in this particular environment, like, I do think it is up to you to fuck it up more than actually. Yeah. You know,
the people are here. They're ready for it.
Yeah.
They're in on a Thursday night. They're drinking. Just get up there and do your best, and it'll go well. You know.
Have you any plans? There's a couple of actually things. I was just chatting to somebody there about a possible live podcast just being thrown at me over there. Yeah. If you're over too, if you're over earlyish on the Saturday, there'll be for comedy staff. Myself and Phil Jupiter are putting on a mad big barbecue.
Oh, I always wanted to come to one of your barbecues, Tom.
It won't be one of my signatures, I'll be honest with you, because I couldn't get my smoking gear and everything over there, so they're hiring in stuff for me, but it'll be okay.
Okay, look, I'll see what I can do.
The quality will be there in the product, but I can't put my massive.
Oh, I remember those little pork ends that you did. Oh, I have to tell you now, I was drooling on my iPhone.
Do you know what? I'll do a blast. When am I in here again? I'm in here in a couple of weeks, aren't I? Yeah,
2 weeks.
I'll do a shot of him. I'll do a shot of him. I'll bring him in.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll bring him in because you'll be here on the Thursday night typically,
aren't
you?
On the Thursday, yeah.
I think because Natasha wants to come in and say hello to you.
Oh, is she? Yeah. I'm so excited.
So
Me and Natasha are like social media friends.
Oh,
I feel like she's exactly like me.
Oh, no, you totally click. You'd be absolutely,
Yeah, I'm excited.
Dog people, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly, I know.
But they're very, you may want to go for a jog after them.
Oh,
That's
really?
all I will say.
Do you feel like death?
No, you feel amazing because they're gorgeous, but you know what you're eating is so bold.
Yeah.
It's just, you cannot get bolder food.
See, I've kind of gotten through that door now. You know where people start feeling bad after they've eaten something?
Yeah.
I've kind of moved on from that. Like, I eat kebab sober now. And it just has opened up. Yeah, it's opened up a door of opportunity.
I don't
for
know
me.
if I've ever eaten a kebab
Have
sober.
you not?
I don't think I have.
Well, maybe
I suppose
yeah.
I've eaten zaytoon sober.
I was just about to say, I have zaytoon every Thursday.
Do you?
Every Thursday.
That's gas. I remember Natasha's brother, now he's moved to Germany since, but every single Friday. And there wasn't a fucking pick on him.
No.
But every Friday, it had to be zaytoons.
Eventually, I'll hit kind of 27, 28. I won't be able to have them every Thursday.
Yeah.
But while I can, I'm loving it.
Jesus Christ. Oh, did you just throw in all right. Okay, fair enough. So, do you know what? We'll you've done brilliantly for is this your first ever podcast?
It's my first podcast, Tom, yeah.
And we're better to do it than the Buckshot podcast live from the Laughter Lounge.
I know, exciting times.
This has been fucking fantastic. We're nearly 45 minutes in.
There we go. Well, look, thanks for having
me
on,
you were
Tom.
going to give out now. You didn't want to do this. You were stomping and kicking and dragging. And watch now, there'll be no problem getting you on any other time.
I know, there
have
you
to
go.
get an extra mic just for you.
Well, God knows what you'll ask me next week now.
So tell me this: this is going out Friday morning? So who's on this weekend? Friday tonight and tomorrow night.
We've actually got one of the best lineups ever. Now I know I kind of say that all the time.
I'm not on it. What are you talking about?
Okay, second best.
Okay,
Second best.
all right.
It's actually the best. No, this week we have Andrew Ryan is your headliner. He's on with us this Friday and Saturday, so he's a Cork lad. You'll absolutely love him. He kills it every time he's in. Then we've got Jim Elliott in, so my favourite.
Friend of the podcast, Jim Elliott.
Yeah, we love him. And he's probably one of the most entertaining to watch because every time I see him, he's got a new set. So love having him in. Then we've got good old Willow White all weekend.
Is Willie here?
Yeah, Willie. So can't be him, sweet loving. And then...
Oh, Jesus. Is he going to do his sweet That is the strangest thing ever.
You have to admit, though, gets you going.
Do you know, the jealousy I have in the fact that I've never even dreamt of doing a song.
I know.
And now I really want to do a song.
No, it gets the place going. Like, when I hear that song, I just picture fucking Willa's face. Just who it is.
I was in, was it Dundrum Town Centre or something the other day, and I walked by some shop and I could just hear it. And I mean, already the place annoys the shit out of me, but I had to get a pair of fucking boots. And I'm walking through the place, and that song was blaring out of some, like,
you just expect him to come dancing out from behind a clothes
straight away,
rail.
all I can think of, like, Willow White, we've been talking, and he's going to be on the podcast at some stage. Now, we'll play it doesn't justification to talk about this.
I actually have a video.
Online.
I actually have a video of it.
Is it up?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I will send it to you and you can pop it up because it is the best crack ever. And I'm in the front row, so you'll catch all the moves.
Yes, that was the one. And he mimes the whole way through. I won't ruin it for you.
It got like 16k views and like a nice...
Because he looks funny anyway.
He's
do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't do if it was the coolest looking person ever. It wouldn't do, like, you know what I mean?
If
but
Jim Elliott got up there and did everyone like, get him off,
it wouldn't be the same thing.
Off.
Jim is too cool looking.
Has to be Willow with his little spiky hair.
And is Willow hosting?
No, Willa is on the middle this week.
Right.
Yeah, Andrew Ryan is headlining Friday and Saturday. Jim is first on. And then your MC is our resident MC, Gar Murren.
Smashing
so
stuff.
You have to admit, that's some lineup.
That's a tasty lineup now. In fairness, you won't be let down either way. And there's no point in telling everybody, but if what's coming up, I suppose Christmas is going to be giant over really,
Christmas,
isn't it?
Yeah, we kind of are just confirming our headliners now. But how we do Christmas is we actually do a vote system with our mailing list and Facebook and stuff. And we have people vote for their favourite act. So it really is the public's choice. So yeah, we'll be doing that now in the next couple of weeks.
Brilliant stuff. And next year's plans to be fucking something massive.
Yeah, so I've got loads of international acts and stuff booked now. So we've got like Kerry Godleman and Larry Dean and Susie Ruffle and Adam Rose coming over from Hot Water. So yeah, just exciting times.
Great stuff. And I mean, at some stage we're going to probably do live in here.
I think we will. I think we're going to have to.
The podcast is getting kind of popular. There's quite a lot of requests for live.
Yeah, well, podcasts in general are doing so well, and no better place for a comedy podcast.
The comedy podcast is going out twice a week, like so. It's people are getting what they want.
I know,
and we will give it to them here.
This
Holly Soulter, this has been absolutely smashing. Thank you very, very, very much.
Thanks for having me on, Tom.
Right, till the next time.
Good luck.
And there you go. Thank you very, very much to Holly. Fantastic, great stuff on the interview. Like she said, pop along to the new website, which is laughterlounge.com. Get on down there. You can't go fucking wrong going to the Laughter Lounge. Any of the comedy clubs. But in saying that, like the way the Laughter Lounge do it, if it's the first time going to a comedy club, you won't go too far wrong. Also, anyone that I'm playing at. Thanks very much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. Also, for gigs coming up down the line, just go to tomo'mahony.com. I'll put the link in the description. Follow me on any of the social platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. Tom O'Mahony Comedy will find you. Or follow the podcast, which is it's only on Twitter. There's no point in doing much more. It's really just me. But you can follow Buckshot Podcast on Buckshot Pod, actually, on Twitter. If you're on the chatty snaps, which I do reply to lads on, which I don't post much on, but I do reply to people if they want to hit me up, it's Tom Bear O'Mahony on that one. Like I said, hit subscribe on whatever you're listening to. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, give it a rating. Lads have been giving it a rating. Give it the 5 stars. Give it the fucking 5 stars, the high five. Leave me a comment too. I like that shit. It's good. Well, it's not just for me. It's so people can find it, because that's what iTunes rates themselves on. Anyway, I'll be back on Tuesday to tell you all about buying the new car and the dose and the pain in the hole that I had and what went on for the weekend. In the meantime, send me on whatever weird shit you get up to over the weekend, whether it's on Chatty Snaps or Instagram or whatever. Mind yourselves.